All right, guys. First topic. So it seems that more Nigerians are marrying outside of Nigeria. What do we think about this? Why? What's your thoughts?
So outside of Nigeria or marrying non-Nigerians?
That's the same. We'll keep the same thing.
Outside of Nigeria, the country or the culture?
Okay.
So outside non-Nigerians.
Non-Nigerians. Right?
What do we think? I guess my biggest question would be, is there anything wrong with it?
Why are they not marrying Nigerians?
So for me, as long as you're black, I don't care. But like, if you're white, taking it too far. So, that's just my personal stance on,
That's racist.
It's not a preference. It's not, and it's just for me. It's not for everybody else.
Okay.
I believe,
prefer to marry black people.
I would, but it's not. I'm not married to them, so it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I do think that you could do better.
But okay, let's stick to the why.
Why?
Why non-Nigerians?
Maybe because people are migrating more, and so you kind of marry from your pool. And so if a lot of Nigerians are leaving Nigeria, or because you don't necessarily see that in Nigeria. So if you have Nigerians outside of Nigeria integrating with other cultures and other people and other races, then there's a likelihood that you would more than likely pick from a wider pool. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
I think people just marry based on whoever they're surrounded with.
Facts.
Whether you migrated to go to school in another country or region or whatever, the people that you interact with, that's who you're going to probably end up having romantic attractions to. And that's just that. I don't think anybody goes out of their way to find another race of person or ethnicity or whatever.
Some people.
That's a good question. Do you think that people are intentionally seeking out other races?
I do in some sense. I feel like there is, some people who leave Nigeria and want to leave Nigeria.
Okay, so there's an elephant in the room.
There's
There's an elephant in the room that I kind of want to address with what you just said. Because the truth is, a lot of Nigerians, when they migrate to places like the States, for example, part of what gives them, this is that big elephant that we probably don't want to touch, but it is what it is.
Let's touch it.
A lot of people seek out Americans to get their immigration status, right? And 9 times out of 10, that might lead to.
I mean, is that a marriage or is that a business?
It's a transaction.
That's another topic because I've always thought marriage is a transaction.
It is.
To some people.
I'm not married, but
Marriage is a transaction. People get married for different reasons, and
That's true.
you're getting married to someone because of something you want out of that person. You're getting married to you because whether it is love or money or culture or status, everybody marries for a reason.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, facts,
So
facts.
in that regard, marriage is transactional. Nobody marries for altruistic reasons to help somebody.
I think as somebody who is a cross African country breed, if that's a word. Okay.
Continental products.
Correct. So I think personally, being Africans and being around in the same area, obviously we didn't make our own country boundaries, right? So we share a lot of similarities across the borders. We also have our differences, but even the differences are aligned, if I can use that phrasing. People may agree with me, may not, that's but our differences are aligned. Where they get more differing is if you're going into the southern parts of Africa, where things are a little bit different, but even then we're still aligned, right? Now that you will see a good amount of Nigerians that will now want to marry white people, Asian people, Asian I see too much, but Asians. But I see a lot of the whites and the Hispanic, and I'm not gonna lie, I see more Nigerian men doing it than Nigerian women.
that's true.
And so for
Let's
me,
talk about it.
we talk about it.
Madam, do you have anything to support this, your theory of
So,
more men?
I
Because
think-
I've seen a lot of Nigerian women married to English men, French men,
Lebanese.
Lebanese.
More than Nigerian men.
I believe so. I believe so.
And does anybody else feel that way? Just generally thinking about your views.
I've seen so many white men.
I don't think there's
No, wait,
any
wait.
ways to quantify that. I think more than anything, we
I
see
think-
what is put
I
out.
think-
let's
Just for the purpose of this
what
conversation.
are you seeing?
Just for the purpose of this conversation, because even social media is gonna, the AI on social media is gonna put things in front of you that
Yeah.
align with who you are.
Yeah.
So from what you see in your general day to day,
Yeah.
do you see more men getting married to other, let's say races, just for, to cut the sentence short, Nigerian men or Nigerian women?
Now I ain't gonna front like it's way more, but we've
Is-
seen a lot more
is
white
it
men
or women?
wearing
Men.
our clothes,
Guys.
putting our
The
this
guys
thing,
don't answer this.
dancing
The
with
guys-
awkwardness. A lot of white men are just there.
Right.
We see it all the
No,
time.
Don't say the men are saying it.
Yes or no?
But you guys
He is saying it.
He didn't say that.
He
He didn't even say that though. He didn't even say that though. He's still dancing around the question.
I would
Do you
say
see
it's
more
the
men
man.
or women?
I would
No, I said it's not a
I
wide
say
gap,
it's
but it
men.
is more men.
I would
I mean, what women? I'm sorry.
So Kanye once said,
Hold on.
Kanye West once said, when I get home, I'll leave your ass for a white girl. And I feel like white women are like a status symbol
Yeah.
in society
For
almost.
every race.
I'm glad you
For
said
every
that
race,
because that's
right.
where I was going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree, but you know, it happens.
So, and again, I don't have any facts to
Yeah.
back this up.
That's feelings.
But what I'm about to say, I don't have any facts to back it up, right? But if we look at every race, like as objectively as we can, there's every other race. No other race puts another race of women in front of their race of women, like in general. Well, except for I guess the white is arguable, right? But outside of white, they will prefer their race to other races. But then when it comes to black men, and again things are changing now. But when it comes to what I've seen with black men, especially when growing up, they've been quick to put other races in front of our race. in
Can you
general,
elaborate on
right?
that, please? Because I don't know what that is.
So to his point about the status thing,
Mhm.
right? Even so, like coming from corporate America, right?
Mm.
A lot of our black men who make it to the top are not married to black women. And when I had a conversation with somebody who is, on that track, he was like, I'm gonna be honest, and kind of to your point, when we get to this certain status in life, we're surrounded by other races of women. And I was like, well, if you look at the black race of women, there are a lot of very successful, professional black races of women.
Not nearly compared.
It's not nearly compared, but I don't think it's too hard to find.
Are we
And
sure? I mean, the vice president of this
That's
country is
what I
married to a
was
white
about to
man.
say. That,
The greatest tennis player ever is married to a white man.
Based on what you
What are we
just
talking about right
Just
now?
more demographic compared to the rest of the
The
world.
greatest WNBA player of our generation, Candace Parker, is married to a white woman. What are we talking about right now, yo?
What are we
That's such a small
But
percentage of people.
But also, I mean, it's hard for me to agree. But in the sense,
I think we get to that.
if you have like football players, right? They get to a status, they get to a point, and most of those people that they're around are not majority white women, not black women. They're majority white women who
I
are
disagree.
gunning. What?
I mean, no, the social shade room, all that, they pump out all the niggas who's married to the white women and all that. But I'm saying, if you look on an average,
Yeah.
most of the athletes are married to black women.
So we're kind of focusing.
Most of them
Maybe
are.
today.
And even the more prominent black athletes,
not like
LeBron
football.
James,
Maybe things
is
have
married to a black.
changed.
It's not
No,
no.
that's what I'm saying. They did the job on you, though. They did the job on
No,
you.
because when they're married to a black woman, they
Okay.
They bring out Antonio
they get an
Brown,
article,
but they don't talk about
episode
LeBron
on
like
TV.
that.
Okay, let's go back to
Let's go back to that race. It's not a dream, of course.
I
So,
don't know.
can I land on what I was saying?
Okay,
So, and I'm talking specifically with the Nigerian guys that I do meet in these places in like corporate America, in these environments, who are up there. A lot of them are dating and or married to women who are not black, caucus of being Nigerian.
Yeah.
And so when I've had that conversation with a few of them, that's one thing that I heard was that, there's not a lot of men out here. And I'm like, you're in New York City. There's plenty of professional black women in your city. And after digging a little deeper, it did get to the point where he was like, I'm not gonna lie, like white women, when you get to a certain place, it's like it is like a status thing. Whether men want to admit it or not. And maybe it's a product of your environment, because when you are in finance and other things, like things are different, you know, the way people think are different. And there's like an image that you want to maintain. And in that image of what you think is the utmost success is you'll see a white man with a slim white woman next to him. And if you can't be that white man, you're gonna be as close as you can. That is a perspective. Now, whether that specifically applies, I do think that some black men feel like they're, you know, feeling nice when they're dating and married to white women, because some of them do feel like they have some type of status increase in America because of it. And I think that's something that has to do with your personal insecurities and whatever it may be. But, sorry.
Well, why do we always put that on black men? We don't put that on black women.
I think it also boils down to perspective, right? I do believe that, because again, there's nothing quantifiable for us to be able to say that more black men or more Nigerian men are marrying white women. There's nothing quantifiable for us to say more Nigerian women are marrying white men. We can only talk about based on our what's in front of us. Yes, and based on that, I will say I have met a lot of Nigerian women who think that the goal is a white man because of different reasons. I'm not one to judge, but the reasons are always different.
I just want to point out one thing. Hold on. I just want to point out one thing. Do you see the shock that she had when you said that? She said, "Oh, really? Wow! What? But when it was black men, yeah, they be chasing them white girls." I don't want to point out the shock. But it's so common because I hear that shit.
Hold on, that's what I said perspective. Because a lot of times what we're seeing, the people who are more vocal about it are women, right? We tend to be more vocal about that dynamic of, you know,
preference.
No, of the black guys are not going for the black women, they're going for the white women. We tend to be more vocal about it. The guys are not as vocal about it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen the other way, because again, to my point, there's nothing to quantify. And I'm not saying this in favor of the guys or against the women or whatever. I'm just saying we're looking at it based on our perspective, right? And so what we see is a lot of black men talking about, and not just these days, and I don't want to deviate from the topic, but these days it's even more so to the point where we're hearing more about passport rules, and you guys know what that means.
God.
Exactly. So it's up to that extent. And the people who talk about it the most are women, right?
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, passport rules are black.
That's a whole other topic, yo.
Private, mostly, predominantly black American men who are going up overseas to countries, let's just say third world countries, to marry women who they can. But that's the whole I'm just explaining to her what the term means. Yes, and so people who are being vocal about it mostly are women, right? Now, does that mean that there are women who are marrying internationally, black women who are marrying internationally, white, predominantly white men? We have no way to quantify, because I don't think guys talk about it as much as we do. So we see more of the perspective.
They talk about when y'all going to Jamaica.
So ultimately, what I'm talking about I think it happens both ways. So if we want to talk about it, let's talk about the why of it rather than talk about who is doing it more, because we have no way to quantify that.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think you hear men talk about the whole interracial dating thing as often as we hear black women talk about it, because when black men, or let me say, we're speaking to Nigerian men, when they date outside of their race, they tend to make it about why they are going against black women.
Thank you.
Say. Yes, what do you mean? What's that?
I just said this. And I said why. But
when black women, again, Nigerian women go outside of their race, we just do it quietly. We don't make it
Nigerian woman.
You said quiet, Abby.
This is why I don't like. This is why I don't like Nigerian women.
Hey, you don't put on Twitter.
Okay, so what's your response to that? Hey, what's your response?
We've been hearing niggas ain't shit since 1978.
If you look on every man,
What's the other one? Nigerian men are not romantic. Nigerian men don't like flowers. Yes. We've heard it every single day. Did we complain? Did we make noise? We said okay. It was good. You know why? You know why it's not doing us? You know why it's not doing us? Because Lucy Lou said we're romantic. Lucy Lou, Stacey Ann, they all said, oh, these are romantic guys. They all said romantic.
And Puloma and Faye, I'm not saying you're romantic.
They're not romantic.
Because your romance is attached to an ATM card. That is your romance. That is your romance.
White women and Asian women. That's how you learn how to be romantic.
not even that.
When you guys date us, you cannot be romantic. We should just know. We should know.
No.
I'm a Nigerian man.
You see how my gentleman has stayed quiet? He will go and marry one of the Lebanese babes. He will not argue with you. He will go to Lebanon now and just marry you and quiet. No, but he never bashed you. But he never bashed you though. That's what I'm saying. He never bashed you. You just related us here.
Ask each of you a question. Okay, no, I can't even ask you because you already made it clear you can only agree with a black woman.
I only date black women.
Okay, so would you marry interracially?
A black?
And why?
What?
No, a non-black person.
I will not completely myself. It's just would you marry a non-Nigerian woman?
It
Or
wouldn't.
a non-black woman?
It wouldn't be
Oh,
my
no,
preference at this 2023. Wouldn't be my preference.
Yes,
But I
To
would.
marry a Nigerian or to marry a
I would love to marry a Nigerian or an Igbo woman. I would love to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
But I don't know what.
Even
the
narrow
cards-
it down to
Why is
Igbo
it
woman.
Why is it blood?
You have
Because
Igbo,
we
you
don't-
have Nigeria, you have Africa.
We don't- We don't know. We don't know.
Hold on.
Even black America.
Yeah, no.
We don't know what the cards are. We don't know what the cards are for.
Because you want to say there's lots of fishes in the sea. Maybe for you,
What? No, I don't have fish.
there are no fish in the sea that you cannot
There's a
manage.
drought in my sea. There's a drought.
Why is Bruce Lee not coming to the channel? I don't know.
Emeka, what's the book?
No, just that I don't know how the cards are gonna fall. Like,
Yeah.
So who are you, when you date women right now?
He said it's
The
perfect.
reason I asked the question based on
you said what? I'm equal opportunity employer.
Yeah, so that's the reason I asked the question.
I follow DNI.
I discriminate. I'm sorry.
I love you all. Just do
I have to discriminate.
But that doesn't mean. But notice though. Now real quick, notice. I never said nothing bad about my sisters though.
No, of course.
You know what I'm saying? I never said nothing bad about my sisters.
He's gonna marry a woman, the liberty of
No, I'm saying he's not gonna argue with you.
In answering my
That's what I'm saying. He's not gonna argue with you.
That is what you said.
Are you gonna marry somebody that says, hey, I need a woman that does this, that does that? No, that's what I said.
answering my question, you didn't say nothing negative about us.
Yeah.
But in your comments earlier on, you pointed out the fact that you think that Nigerian women only consider romance when a man is spending on them. That's kind of
Hey,
Time out right now. Did I lie?
Yes.
No,
You see how he stayed quiet?
I'm not saying that there aren't women who are that way, but to stereotype all Nigerian women that way.
Didn't you just stereotype us that we're not romantic? I'm not gonna stereotype. Yo, the hypocrisy is nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
What are we talking about right now?
That's what I'm saying.
Certified.
It's all stereotypes.
Okay, you guys want to answer the question? Would you consider
She just killed us about romance like 30 minutes ago. What we talking about?
man, and why?
Absolutely.
And why?
No, she wasn't finished.
No, no,
She wasn't finished.
no,
Oh gosh. The reason why, I think you should answer that first.
Why
I feel like Nigerian men can be a little too traditional, which is nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, like I'm someone that tends to go against the grain, so I wouldn't want someone that's like too
So why don't you just get
judgmental or not.
That sounds a lot like a stereotype.
like
If I'm not
why don't you get
No,
a Nigerian man that's not that traditional?
Nigerian men are too. Y'all can't even help yourself. Not even 2 minutes.
Would you consider marrying a non-Nigerian man and why?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would consider, and this is honestly from my perspective, right? Obviously, obviously I'm half Nigerian, I'm half Ghanaian, for anybody who's curious. However, honestly speaking, my preference is Nigerian men. I am more like assimilated to Nigerian culture. I love culture, I love tradition, all those things. So my preference number one is a Nigerian man who makes sense, who respects me, and all those kind of things, right? And then it would be the rest of Africa, then Caribbean, then Black American.
Yeah.
And honestly speaking, like white is probably gonna be my least, like at the last of my list. Not saying I wouldn't consider at all. And the reason being, from my perspective, I grew up in a non-diverse environment before moving to Ghana. I was the only minority in a lot of my classes, especially taking like advanced classes, as a Nigerian babe. And so, I would be the only person, and I see the way they're raised and how they grew up to not respect our race. That's why those kind of conversations kind of hit me differently, because I was always not even a choice. Not talking about being the last choice, I was not a choice. Even in high school, when there were more Black people and African people, but more Black people, we were all, like, especially being a dark-skinned, thicker Black woman who's not African, we were not even on the table, for the most part, from my perspective. So that's why I take these conversations from a different way, where like certain things that you would say would shock me because I didn't grow up in that kind of environment. It was until I went to Africa that I was able to be proud and love who I am, and I see Black women being loved and put first. And I don't know if it's because they didn't have anything else or because we really love ourselves. But yeah, that's fine. So yes, would I date outside of Nigeria? Yes, but I prefer I haven't dated.
Okay, so can I just say why I answered the question?
We're gonna close out on you.
Yeah.
So
Can I say why?
I'm sorry. The why is because when you grow up not being a choice for many men of your own race, you don't want to limit yourself too much.
Okay.
And so yeah.
So that kind of was put on the men, but that's cool.
Okay.
No, it's not put on the men. It's put on how I grew up. That's how I feel.
I mean,
because why would I limit myself to only Nigerian men if Nigerian men have a golden tree all the time?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, because I feel like I'm feeling some type of way.
Alright, guys.
but when they said that,
before I answer the question. So the conversation was going, more Nigerian men are marrying non-Nigerian women than Nigerian women are marrying non-Nigerian men. But based on how we just answered the question, and I'm kind of aligned with the answer that you guys gave, based on how we've just answered the question, we've just contradicted ourselves.
I don't know.
Let me tell you why I said that. All of these guys, and I know what it looks like, guys. This is not me trying to defend you guys. This is me trying to say it all boils down to perspective. All of them pointed out that they would prefer, right, to marry, a Nigerian
but I said the
Black
same
person.
thing.
Yes. But we are a little more open to marry
Honestly
non-Nigerian men, and her reason was more honest.
So give no, but let's give your own
So my
reason.
let me give my answer and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
My answer is more aligned with what she said. I don't have a preference per se. I'm very open to any culture, any country, any race or whatever. Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, we do ourselves a disservice when we're limiting ourselves to, you know, Igbo, Nigerian, African, Black. We do ourselves a disservice because it's hard for me to imagine that the only person meant for you in this world is from your own community.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's my why I'm open to any and every, you know, whatever. But again, based on the trajectory we're going, it seems like, you know, Nigerian can say
So guys here prefers to be with a Nigerian. It's just that you're open-minded about it.
Most of us.
Yeah.
And most of us.
Be black.
All right.
For more DXR media content, follow us on our socials. More content's on the way.